Hello, wonderful people. Welcome back to this wonderful channel where we bring you wonderful news and back-to-back information as see the hot. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of us of freedom all over the world. I greet you. Thank you for your support on our channel. Without you, there will be no us. Meanwhile, let's go down to the news that brought us here. Presidential Tribunal rejects P2B's request to interrogate electoral body INEC on 12 key areas. um, Ima ase atobo tosiwepo awo, these people have seen how intelligent P2B is, and they are trying all their best to make sure that they stop him from achieving his goals. But in the vice na ojihe nwata weni akenu na mgbaka lubelia otu anya, specifically Obi, who is challenging the outcome of the presidential election that was held on February 25th, had in the application prayed the court to compel the electoral body to answer 12 key questions he listed on an interrogatory he filed on May 22. The Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC, sitting in Abuja on Saturday, struck out an application of the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, filed to interrogate the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the technology it deployed for the conduct of the general election. Specifically, Obi, who is challenging the outcome of the presidential election that was held on February 25th, had in the application prayed the court to compel the electoral body to answer 12 key questions he listed on an interrogatory he filed on May 2022. He wanted INEC to, among other things, tell the court the date it conducted the functionality test on the purported improved technological system it deployed for elections, as well as the names and details of those that conducted the test. According to Vanguard, Obi equally urged the court to compel INEC to supply its answers to the following questions: who created/deployed the 4 application patches update to fix the HTTP 500 error that prevented the e-transmission of the result of the presidential election on the 25th February 2023. What was the exact time of the occurrence of the technical glitch which prevented the e-transmission of the result of the presidential election on 25th February? What time were the technical glitches fixed or are repaired? What percentage of the result of the presidential election was uploaded on the IV on 25th February 2023? What percentage of the result of the presidential election was uploaded on the IRVE as at the time of the declaration of the result of presidential election on 1st March 2023? If the presidential election was conducted concurrently with the National Assembly elections on the same day and at the same time using the same technological device, why were there glitches only with respect to the presidential election? Obi and his party added. They maintained that answers the Commission would provide to the question would be very vital to determination of the petition they filed to challenge the declaration of the President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress (APC) as the winner of the presidential election. However, all respondents in the matter urged the court to dismiss the application for want of competence. Cited as first to fourth respondent in the petitions are the INEC, the President Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and the APC. Meanwhile, in a unanimous decision on Saturday, Justice Haruna Tuzani-led 5-member panel struck out the application on the premise that it was filed outside the pre-hearing period. Meanwhile, the panel gave Obi and the LP the nod to play the open court 2 video recordings he tendered in evidence. While in the first video, INEC chairman Prof. Mahmood Yakubu, while addressing a press conference before the general election, assured that the result of the election will be electronically transmitted, with electorates being able to view the result in real time. In the second video clip, an INEC National Commissioner, Mr. Festus Okoye, equally assured that the result would also be transmitted in real time, with the IRV portal made accessible to the citizens. You know, if it were to be in a working country, I believe that most of the evidence that P2B have presented in the court is big enough, to do something. Is big enough to, to bring about something in what is happening in this particular election. I'm telling you, to be honest, it's big enough, but because Nigeria is not, should I say, is not a working country, and is a country whereby money can actually buy justice. The court is said to be the hope of the common man, but when it comes to the issue of Nigeria, it seems as if the judiciary arm of the government is now part of the executive, because the executive is the one who has the full control of both the executive and the judiciary, and it is only in Africa that you will see such a thing. Meanwhile, this system of government was created for checks and balances. The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive are there for check and balances, and also for complement. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, the matter is that the executive controls everything. But I believe that P2B has presented enough evidence to be able to compel the court to take an appropriate decision, but that has not been done as it should. Meanwhile, June 12th is coming, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says something. Nigeria organized civil society declares nationwide protest Monday over petrol hikes. This is the organized civil society, which comprises of civil society leaders and pro-democracy activists affiliated to about 120 concerned CSOs in Nigeria, has set aside Monday, June 12, for a nationwide protest over petrol subsidy fraud and hike in fuel prices. The group said they are conscious of the hardship and anarchy that the transfer of the cost of burden of Nigeria's fraudulent subsidy regime has brought on ordinary Nigerians. This was contained in a statement signed by Olawale Okuniyi, head of Secretariat Nationwide Coordinating Center. He added that the empirical data before the civil society showed that the real problem with the Nigeria economy is the cost of governance and the privileges showered on a few elites in government and around government, which are paid for through state funds. In a statement on Saturday, the organized civil society said, in a decisive resolve to compel government to reverse its latest controversial and unbearable fuel prices back to the former official price of 167 per litre, and also to enter into immediate consultation and negotiation with key segments and stakeholders of the country, including labor, private sector, and the organized civil society, to agree a national consensus on how to deal with fuel subsidy questions in Nigeria. The coalition has decided to mobilize and lead the collective intervention of Nigerian citizens, youth, and the masses to ensure that the elite consensus to remove the fraudulent fuel subsidy in Nigeria does not become another opening for state finance cartel to manipulate and exploit the subsidy removal policy to further disempower and pauperize the vulnerable and poor in Nigeria, in order to plunge the vast majority of Nigerians into deeper economic crisis, crime, and insecurity. The leaders and activities who took this decision at a consultative meeting last night over the increasing pain and suffering being experienced daily by ordinary Nigerians, also agree on the following: that since there seems to be a national elite consensus that the fraudulent contraption called fuel subsidy should be removed, it is therefore obvious that all other subsidy regimes in Nigeria are plagued with the same disease of corruption and official mismanagement. Targeting just fuel subsidy is anti-people. All corrupt/phantom subsidies must be removed. This consensus for removal notwithstanding, the organized civil society and pro-democratic movement front and object to the lack of consultation and the dictatorial tendencies exhibited by government. In removing the subsidy, especially the unilateral decision and arbitrary way it acted in its first week in office. The coalition also insists on the reversal of the latest price regime of fuel for the template used to arrive at the new outrageous pump price to be verified by all stakeholders. Other questions of how much are the savings from the removal of subsidy? Who owns the savings therefrom, and what they will be applied to beyond the servicing of those spurious debt created by BUHARI, and what are the direct correlation between fuel subsidy removal and available funds for capital projects and infrastructural development in Nigeria. All these, in the estimation of the coalition, need to be urgently addressed by all concerned and affected stakeholders. Similarly, the coalition resolved to collect and generate popular demand of Nigerian citizens and civil society on the 800 million World Bank subsidy loan collected by the federal government in terms of its application, and to raise issues about the supply side of refined petroleum products vis-a-vis full deregulation of oil sector in allowing for other players and healthy competition, while addressing the NNPC Limited question whether it is going to remain as an arm of government and its true powers in the context of Petroleum Industry Act (PIA), its holistic implementation and pricing of the PMS in Nigeria. That in addressing the recently signed agreement of government with TUC and NLC as a component of the board, demand of the larger workforce of the country who are majorly in the informal/private sector in the civil society. Who is going to handle what, and how will the funding of the implementation of the agreement going to be sourced? That the empirical data before the civil society shows that the real problem with the Nigerian economy is the cost of governance and privileges showered on a few elites in government and around government, which are paid for through state funds, and how to deal with this powerful cartel that Kashim Shettima spoke about recently during his meeting with state governors. To this end, and flowing from the resolution of the coalition to openly express its dissatisfaction and rejection of the manner in which government unilaterally imposed a new regime of outrageous and unbearable cost of subsidy removal on the innocent masses of Nigeria through foisted hike of fuel price by the NNPC Limited. The National Coordination Team was mandated to mobilize and coordinate a nationwide mass protest slated to commence on Monday, June 12, 2023, and to develop a popular template of what the organized civil society and Nigerian citizens actually want from government as touching the harsh effect of its subsidy removal. Finally, the coalition directed all its affiliates, allies, and stakeholders in 36 states and Abuja to collaboratively mobilize for the June 12 citizens mass protest and to undertake dynamic protest action and demonstration during their June 12 commemorative events that are in tandem with their peculiar environment, in compelling the Tinubu's government to stem its forced economic and political crisis in the country. To this end, state affiliates of the coalition are strongly advised to partner with all progressive mass media in their various states and explore all available social media platforms while organizing various stakeholders into different task teams of the new coalition at the state and the local government area levels in preparation for the nationwide citizen mass action to commence on Monday, 12 June 2023, the statement added. Well, meanwhile, it's not even about carrying out protests in Nigeria. The issue is after carrying out this protest, the people that you are protesting, are they going to listen to you? That's one of the issue. Because it is not today that we started seeing protests in Nigeria. Well, let's say that this is a new administration and we are yet to know what is going to happen and how this administration are going to handle their issues. But one thing that is sure is that we've seen a lot of things as far as Nigeria is concerned, and we know how Nigerian politics works. But like I said, we'll still check and see what this new administration is all about. Meanwhile, I'll be winding down the curtain here. And if this is your first time of joining us on this wonderful channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, and also remember to on your notification button so that whenever our news drop, you'll be the first to collect it. Thank you for listening, my wonderful people. God bless you.